with 283 at the very, 284 on the very bottom. Yudches, we're holding Yudches. So we are putting the shamas. The Ramos says, the Mechaber says you should put an extra candle, so because you're not permitted to use the light of the Hanukkah lights, so it would be attributed that you're benefiting from the light of the shamas. Hasham Shabo, Vafilu Rabim Madlikim. Now the question is, let's say you have multiple people lighting the way we light. Is it enough to have one shamas for everybody, right? Or each set of candles should have its own shamas. Since each person puts a set of candles in their own location, because you just can't mix the candles. We're speaking in those days, person didn't have a menorah. Person just melted the candles onto a tray. So you can't put them too close to one another, because you won't be able to discern what night you're holding. So therefore, each grouping of candles should have its own shamas, although you have an additional candle on the table. The shem yishtamish eitz, because if you get close to those candles, that extra candle should be associated with it, so it's considered the what you're benefiting from that additional candle. Understand? What's the concern? You want to, let's say, discern between one denomination of coin and another. So you get close to the candle, okay? So let's say you have a candle on the table, but you're putting your hand next to one set of candles. So if that additional candle's among those candles, so we say, from which light are you benefiting? From that additional candle. But if you have one candle in the middle of the table, and you get close to one set of candles, which light are you benefiting from? From the candles you're not supposed to benefit from. Odev Tvei, the Vizemukach Behedjel of Neabaishin Minyan Haneros. Right? The Ramos says, yeah, Yose Oruch. And he says the midig is that the shamas is a longer candle. So he's going to explain. If the shamas is, let's say, on the same level, you melt it to the tray like the others. So by having it longer, it's obvious that candle is an additional candle. But he says, what about if the shamas is higher? Right, the way we do it. The shamas is usually higher than the other candles. It could be the same. It could be the same length, especially if you light with oil. You can't differentiate one another. Candles, you can make a differentiation. So by having the shamas higher or in different location, does not be longer. He says if you put it at a higher location, it's also fine. Okay, now the Ramos speaks about a case. What happens if the Hanukkah candle that you're not permitted to benefit from intermingles in other candles? So it's not botil. We rule halacha that hazmon is lav milsa. If you designate something for a mitzvah, it's not used as a mitzvah, doesn't affect it. For instance, you have a tefillin bag embroidered with your son's name on it. It says tefillin, everything, but tefillin would never put into the bag. You can use that bag for whatever you want, right? You could even put garbage in the bag. The bag has no kedusha whatsoever. You put the tefillin there even once, the tefillin assume the level of the designation. If the bag itself was never meant for tefillin, and let's say you want to transport your tefillin to shul, and you need just a way to transport it to shul, but it's not, you designated the bag for the tefillin. That bag could be used for something else afterwards. It's designated initially for tefillin, and then you actually actualize that intent by putting the tefillin in the bag. Then the bag assumes the same status as the tefillin. That's the difference. Initially, it was designated for tefillin, and then it was actualized. The intent was actualized. You put the tefillin in the bag. Then you're not permitted to put anything else into the bag other than the tefillin. You're not even permitted to put a siddur in the bag, because since a siddur has less kedusha than tefillin, the bag was elevated to the level of tefillin, right? You're not even so when people they buy tefillin for their children, the bar mitzvah boy, they want to put the mirror in there. They want to put their maybe comb in there, right? Whatever it is. Unless initially the intent was to put everything in there, they're not permitted to put it. once the tefillin was put in the bag. But if the original intent was to put all the paraphernalia other than the tefillin, then it's not a problem, because that was the original intent. It was designated for multiple items to be put in there. Okay? Talsbag is fine. Because Talsbag, you don't put the tefillin, because you don't put the tefillin directly. You put it in the bag in there. Right. Okay? Hmm? It doesn't have to. You could pull it up from underneath. He says, when does it assume the status of Kedusha? That's only once it's been lit. You did an action. Before it was lit, although you designated the oil or the candles for Chanukah menorah, Chanukah mitzvah, designation alone is not valued. And then it went out. You lit it, and it went out within a half an hour. So half an hour is the minimum. So that means it was designated for the mitzvah. He lit it. Now that candle is not going to be subsumed, even if it's intermingled with 1,000 other candles. So Ramos says, what does that mean? Means they're sold individually. What about if you sell candles by the pound? They're not sold individually. So that's not a Dov Shebeminyan, right? Dov Minyan is, they're sold individually. Let's say you would sell apples. Apples are sold not by the pound individually. Now you have one apple which falls off a tree, let's say was injected with something which is not kosher, or it has a wax on it that's not kosher. And that one apple intermingles with other apples, right? Even though there the halachas it would be okay. It would be okay. No, because there it's not the apple, it's the coating on the apple. It's not you want to subsume the apple, right? It's a separate thing. Or let's say the person, it's sold individually. He's saying that even though candles are sold by the pound, but since once it's used for a mitzvah, that candle is valued individually, so therefore it takes on an individual identity. The davar shebeminyan choshev hu v'lo batil. A davar shebeminyan, something which is valued by its individuality, has that uniqueness, and therefore it's not subsumed. Davar shebeminyan, Marshal cholek. The Marshal argues the post of the chad betray batil. It's subsumed because candles again, because it's not so simple. Factually, it happens to be the candle now using for a mitzvah, but how is candle sold in the market? They're sold by the pound. They're not sold by the candle. Here he says, when does each candle have that special value? That's during Chanukah. Once Chanukah is over, candles again. A candle is wax. That's all. It's a wax with a wick in it. Sold by the pound. It doesn't have that special value any longer. The chashivus. It's after Yom Tiv, after Chanukah is over. This issue is not an issue. It's only during Chanukah. So what do you do? So he says, the Ramos says, you light it with other candles. As a result of that, if you benefit, which light are you benefiting from? It's no worse than benefiting from the shamas. Because you have enough light that the light's coming from the other candle. It's only one candle. So which candles are you benefiting from? The other candles. You always have to light an additional candle. So the additional candle is always the equivalent of the shamas. That among the candles you always have an additional candle, which definitely is what is permitted. And what do we light the additional candle? To be able to what? To benefit from the light. He says, but it's others say no. If they all burn on the same level, it's not simple. Hashem is Hashem shtabish lo kulon. Mishana gamkin ner Chanukah. Mogen Avrom pri chodesh iskimu da'adinim aramo. The Mogen Avrom and the pri chodesh they concur with the Ramo. Amna magro leo sim reisam herich b'zeh mashmud voro bein hadin hazeh muchro. Or k'tzir mashmud lemasi ish lahachmi b'din zeh. That it's not simple. That unless you have the candle higher up, otherwise it's considered you're directly benefiting from the Hanukkah lights. It's nothing. It means nothing. Here's some. It means nothing. Yeah, definitely. You could use Shabbos is not a question. You could use it for what's it use it for on a birthday cake, right? It never took on any value, unless it's actually utilized for the mitzvah. It has no value whatsoever. Designation in its own right. The machlokus is if you take shrouds, make shrouds for a corpse. Anything that's associated with the corpse assumes the status of Yisur Hadno. You're not permitted to benefit from it. So it says you made shrouds, it's Machlok Sabay and Rava. You made shrouds, tachrichim, and you put it on the corpse, and then you realize they weren't right. But they will put it on the body. Now you're not going to use them. Those shrouds cannot be used for anything else. Even for another corpse. You have to discard them. You have to destroy it. That's what you have to do. But let's say you made them, and they fit, and they're right, but it turned out you didn't need them. Right? Person can wear those shrouds under the chuppah. No problem. Okay. Or at the Seder. One or the other. Okay. Beis. Halacha beis. Hadloka usa mitzvah. What is the mitzvah of Hanukkah? The lighting. You have to light a lighting which you could burn a half an hour. But what's the mitzvah? The mitzvah is to kindle. Leficho, therefore, since Hadloko is a mitzvah, im kovso, kodem shovas mano, so if it should be extinguished before the half an hour period, before its time, and uzokaklo, one does not have to relight it. Yeah? One does not have to relight it. V'filu kovso be'erev Shabbos koru kabbalah Shabbos. What about you lit it a half an hour before Shabbos begins, Friday afternoon? So you can relight it, and it's daytime. Daytime, maybe Erev Shabbos should be the difference. When you light it at nighttime period, so at least it was lit at a time where it has value because it illuminates the night. But what if you lit it during the daytime period, Erev Shabbos, because you have no choice and it should go out before you accept Shabbos? Shadayin hu mebod yom, still daylight. Since it's considered a valid lighting, right? You have no reason, you have no obligation to rekindle it. What about the first case where he lit it, went out by itself? What about he wanted to fix the wick, it was burning, and accidentally he extinguished it. So he extinguished it. Right? Again, one doesn't have to relight it. It seems to be the inference of the Mechaber is, what about if you intentionally put it out? Right? It seems to be, he has to give me an example. Before the 30 minutes. You were actually trying to fix it and accidentally you extinguished it. You don't have to relight it. You can. Without a bracha. Because you already said the bracha. Right. No, but it seems to be the inference is, what about if deliberately you put it out? Seems to the Mechaber. You'd have to, otherwise what do you have to say b'shogeg? You should say, even if a person deliberately puts it out, you don't have to rekindle it. No, what does he only speak b'shogeg? Let him say even b'mezid. Say even a greater chiddush. Right? Even deliberately. Because I once told you the story. I was at Elliot's wedding in Paris, and I lit in a location where it wasn't safe to leave the candles, and I had to go to the chuppah. The chuppah was going to be in 15 minutes, and I had no time. So I lit it with a bracha, then I put them out. So I wasn't sure if I thought I was doing the right thing. It doesn't say anything. But there I put it out deliberately. I lit it initially with having in mind to put it out.
That was Friday night?
No, during the week, middle of the week. At night, I lit at nighttime. And then I put it out. That wasn't Purim. Right? Yeah, it was Hanukkah. It was Hanukkah time. He was married Hanukkah time. Okay? Yeah. Your point. If you want to be more machmir, velaz ladlika, you want to relight it, Ein levar chalev, but you're not permitted to say the bracha. Of course, you're permitted to light it, but to say the bracha, you already yotze with the original lighting. Here, let's see the Mishna Berura. Hadlokos a mitzvah, Ratzalom ekeva and shehidlik. Since he kindled it, take of kim mitzvah. You fill the mitzvah immediately. Vichum kov sein sokaklo. Therefore, if it should be extinguished, you have no obligation to relight it. So what about you lit it in a location where it's inevitable, in a windy location, that the wind would blow it out? That means it was never meant, when you originally lit it, was never meant to burn a half an hour because the wind was going to blow it out. Yeah, you're obligated to relight it. Because initially when you lit it, it wasn't a lighting which was meant to last a half an hour. It's like a person put in 15 minutes worth of oil, and he lights it, and then he adds more oil afterwards. It's not a valid lighting, because the original lighting was never meant to burn a half an hour. Nevertheless, even though you lit it in a location which wasn't meant to burn half an hour, so you should not say bracha again. Let's say initially when you light it, you see the fire is not taking, well, the wick is not catching on. And it's not going to burn very low. It's going to extinguish very quickly. That means it was never meant initially. You lit it, immediately it started to fizzle out, flicker out. It's not nothing. There you're obligated. Therefore, they have to say a bracha because the original lighting there definitely was nothing. Shadai mibod yom. You have to differentiate. If you light it, starts fizzling out. He says not a question. But if you light it in a windy location, there he says you should relight it, but without a bracha. What's the difference? Right? What's the difference? If you light it and you see the wick is not taking, although it's burning, it's going to go out in 15 seconds. There you have to relight it, even with the bracha. The original lighting is not a valid lighting. But if you light it in a windy location, although it's inevitable, it's going to go out, you should relight it without a bracha. What's the difference in the two cases?
You lit the candle.
If I
you lit the candle.
No. You
make
lit.
Bracha again, you
Yes,
again,
yeah, because
make a second bracha.
yeah. You lit it. It's fizzling. It's not going to last more. It's nothing. So when you light it in a windy location, definitely it will go out within. Go out. So I think maybe the difference is when you light something, because even if you lit it, it's not going out instantaneously. You leave it, because there, if you put your hand there, you can protect it. It should burn. If you light it and it fizzles, it starts flickering. It's going out. The original lighting wasn't a lighting. I think that's the difference. One is the lighting is a lighting. There's an external force putting it out. So because it could be protected, therefore it's a lighting. Therefore you should relight it, but without a bracha. But the other one, the lighting is not a lighting because it was never meant to burn from the actual lighting itself. In the windy situation, you don't make a bracha.
I'm not putting it's just the faulty wick. The oil doesn't go off the wick. I make the bracha, I light it, fizzles out. I light it again. No bracha, right?
With a bracha. There with a bracha. With a bracha.
It wasn't windy.
No, but there the lighting was never a valid lighting. There if you make, but the other one with the wind, he says there you don't make another bracha. And he says even if it should happen Friday afternoon, where you could have relit it, it's daytime, you're not obligated to relight it. Erev Shabbos, Hatam, came there Shabbos, right? Erev Shabbos, you have to light it before sundown. You have no choice. And you said the bracha. You did everything correctly. The lighting was correct. The time was correct. Taza argues that the Kodem Kabbalah Shabbos Shadayin Heter Lahadlik, that you're still permitted to light because it's still before Shkia and you didn't accept Shabbos. B'chuyiv Lahadlik, Lavs Lahadlik B'li Bracha. Because he's learning Erev Shabbos is like a b'diavad. Right? We have no choice. Erev Shabbos, you have no choice. You have to light before sundown. Right? The optimum time to light is at nighttime. But you're not able to. So since although it's L'chatchila for Erev Shabbos, but it's a b'diavad, therefore if you should go out, you should relight it. During the week, when you light it at nighttime, if it goes out, there's no obligation to relight. But Erev Shabbos, we're dealing with a b'diavad. If you should go out, then you should relight it, if you can. If you don't, you yotze. But if you can, you definitely should. Vimrotz lahachmir. The Ramos says, but a person, if he wants to be machmir, he should be machmir. It's better to be machmir, to relight it, but without a brocha. V'achronim, because the roy lachmir lachzolad lik, he says, the achronim right, it's proper, it's appropriate, you should relight it. If you light it and goes out, it's appropriate, you should relight it. Although you have no obligation. Shabbos, especially if it went out, Erev Shabbos before Shkia, v'mukibel atzmo Shabbos, v'achach kova. What happens if you accepted Shabbos and then it went out? But it's still another half an hour till sundown, right? Muta lo melechaveros she'adlikim. You could tell another Jew who didn't accept Shabbos to write the same thing with Shabbos candles. No. The halacha is. No. Person let half an hour before Shkia. He lit it. Now he's Makabel Shabbos. And then it goes out. He can't relight it. But is he permitted to tell another Jew to relight it? 100%. Same, it's brought regarding a woman forgets to bench Shabbos candles. Shabbos. Hadlokas Neris. Friday. And then she realizes another person can relight on her behalf. Because since it's before Shabbos, right? There's no Abiru Lakum Shvus. The whole thing of, you're not permitted, it doesn't apply. Mitzvah muvcha likno shava l'ner Chanukah min mashenotiv min aneres beis hakneses. In the old days, nothing went to waste. The wax that was left over, the wax candles in shul would burn down. What would they do with the wax? They would sell it. People would buy it for their private usage. So that wax, there's a mitzvah to use it for. If you could use that wax, you should use it for your Neres Chanukah, because that's the Gemara in Brachos. That's something that's used for one mitzvah. If you can't use it for another mitzvah, you should use it for another mitzvah. Similar to the arovas. We use arovas. We burn the chametz with the arovas. Right? People take the leaves of the hadas and they put them in the besamim box, right? Because it has a fragrance. Because you use something for one mitzvah, you should use it for another mitzvah. It's the same thing here. If you can, it's a mitzvah mufchar. If you could purchase the wax from the shul and use it for your ner Chanukah, it is. Something used for one mitzvah, you should use it for another mitzvah.